In Hollywood, some stars shine brightest when they live in the space between labels. Today's list celebrates 5 male celebrities who've become modern queer icons, not because they came out, but because they embraced ambiguity with confidence and style. These men blur lines, play with androgyny, and leave fans guessing, all while redefining masculinity in pop culture. From red carpet fashion choices to the roles they take on screen, they've become symbols of sexual fluidity, self-expression, and freedom. Whether it's through soft boy aesthetics, provocative performances, or simply refusing to fit into one box, they've gained huge LGBTQ+ fan bases worldwide. This episode isn't about labeling anyone. It's about spotlighting men who've become powerful figures in queer-coded pop culture by simply being themselves. Let's dive into the list. Ryan Reynolds, the flirtatious enigma. Hollywood can't pin down. Ryan Reynolds has always been a master of walking the fine line between charm and mystery. With his signature smirk, razor-sharp wit, and effortless charisma, he's been making hearts flutter for over 2 decades. But beneath the blockbuster exterior and carefully crafted persona lies a playful ambiguity that fans and media can't help but dissect. From his early roles in romantic comedies to his more recent self-aware action hero turns, Ryan's energy has never been traditionally macho. Instead, he leans into a softer, more emotionally intelligent masculinity, one that's both cheeky and surprisingly vulnerable. His humor often dips into flirtatious territory, especially in interviews and public appearances. Quick with a suggestive joke, a knowing wink, or a sly double entendre, Ryan keeps everyone guessing, is he just that comfortable in his skin, or is there more to the story? Social media is one of his favorite playgrounds for teasing this ambiguity. Whether he's playfully trolling his friends, like Hugh Jackman, or sharing intimate, self-deprecating moments with his wife, Blake Lively, Ryan mixes humor with just enough emotional openness to stir speculation. Fans often highlight the ease with which he compliments other men, turning casual banter into internet-breaking moments of queer-coded flirtation. Then there's his fashion. While Ryan mostly sticks to classic tailoring, he's not afraid of softer silhouettes, pastel color palettes, or styles that feel distinctly more European lounge than traditional Hollywood leading man. The red carpet has seen him switch from bold velvet suits to delicate knits. Each look more playful and confident than the last. But what truly fuels the ongoing fascination is how Ryan navigates all this attention. When interviewers jokingly ask about his bromances or the internet's obsession with his pansexual energy, Ryan never pushes back with toxic masculinity. Instead, he laughs, plays along, and lets the conversation hang in the air, unanswered but far from dismissed. It's a subtle, smart way of keeping the door open to all interpretations without ever committing to any specific label. In film, too, Ryan toys with expectation. His portrayal of Deadpool, with its endless flirtation with characters of all genders, felt less like acting and more like an extension of his real-life comfort with blurred lines. He's also taken roles that explore emotional vulnerability and intimacy between men without reducing it to a punchline. At the end of the day, Ryan Reynolds remains one of Hollywood's most beloved enigmas. Whether he's redefining modern masculinity, teasing the internet with his signature charm, or simply existing as a man comfortable with fluid expressions of affection and attraction, Ryan is proof that you don't need a label to own your narrative. Sexy, soft, and unapologetically playful, Ryan Reynolds is Hollywood's forever flirt, and fans wouldn't have it any other way. Heath Ledger, the reluctant icon of queer cinema. Before his tragic passing in 2008, Heath Ledger had already carved his name into Hollywood's collective memory. not just as a gifted actor, but as an accidental queer icon. Though he never publicly labeled himself, Ledger's career, and one role in particular, solidified him as a symbol of queer-coded masculinity that both challenged and seduced mainstream audiences. It all began with Brokeback Mountain, 2005, the film that would shift not only Ledger's career trajectory, but also the way Hollywood viewed LGBTQ+ narratives. As Ennis Del Mar, Ledger delivered a performance marked by restraint, longing, and internalized conflict. His portrayal was quiet but devastating, a man torn between societal expectations and a love that could never fully exist in the open. The physical tension, the lowered gaze, the half-spoken words, Ledger turned subtlety into raw emotional power. Off-screen, Ledger became a reluctant figurehead in LGBTQ+ conversations, despite never discussing his own sexuality. When critics or journalists asked him about playing a gay cowboy, Ledger's answers were firm but graceful. He rejected any stigma surrounding the role and often called out homophobia in the media, once famously stating that love is love and it's a shame we're even having this conversation in 2005. But the ambiguity remained. Fans began dissecting his interviews, his fashion choices, and even his friendships with other Hollywood men. Was Heath Ledger simply an ally with extraordinary empathy? Or was there more behind the softness in his voice, the way he wore vulnerability like second skin both on and off screen? His chemistry with Jake Gyllenhaal, both in the film and during the press tour, only fueled the curiosity. The two actors often appeared close in interviews, exchanging glances and inside jokes. While Gyllenhaal eventually clarified his own sexuality, Ledger remained a mystery, refusing to reduce his life to labels or explanations. Beyond Brokeback Mountain, Ledger's artistic choices only deepened the allure. Whether it was his fluid, chaotic performance as the Joker in The Dark Knight or his intimate indie roles in films like Candy, Ledger seemed to lean into characters who blurred lines, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes sexually. Today, nearly 2 decades after Brokeback Mountain, Heath Ledger remains a touchstone in queer cinematic history. His face is still plastered on Tumblr mood boards, his quotes shared across queer Twitter, his performances revisited on late-night streaming marathons. He didn't need to come out to become an icon. He simply existed, authentically and unapologetically, and for many that was enough. Heath Ledger wasn't just playing roles, he was shifting cultural expectations, one quiet, heart-wrenching performance at a time. Chris Evans, the golden boy with quiet mystique. Chris Evans has long been Hollywood's golden boy. The all-American face, the broad smile, the Captain America everyone fell for. But beneath the patriotic suit and the Marvel blockbuster glow, there's always been something quietly intriguing about him. While Evans has never publicly labeled his sexuality, his easy comfort with ambiguity has often left fans guessing and speculating. From red carpet moments to interviews, Evans has shown a rare kind of emotional openness for a leading man of his era. Whether it's playfully flirting with male co-stars or giving heartfelt, vulnerable interviews about love and connection, he's mastered the art of keeping his personal life just mysterious enough to invite curiosity. One of the standout moments that fueled online conversations was his undeniable chemistry with fellow actors, Sebastian Stan being a prime example. Their off-screen banter, inside jokes, and close friendship became the stuff of fandom legend. Fans started creating thousands of fan edits and fanfics, imagining a more-than-friends scenario. While Evans never addressed the fan theories directly, he also never dismissed them harshly. Instead, he always approached it with good humor and warmth, something that only deepened his appeal. Beyond the playful fan service, Chris Evans has been an outspoken ally to the LGBTQ+ community for years. With a gay brother, actor, and producer Scott Evans, Chris's advocacy feels personal and genuine. He's marched for equality, spoken against homophobia, and used his platform to amplify LGBTQ+ voices without making it about himself. This kind of support, done with consistency and sincerity, has made him beloved not just by queer fans, but by the broader community. There's also something about his acting choices that suggest he's unafraid of exploring complexity. From indie projects like Gifted to psychological thrillers like Knives Out, Evans seems drawn to characters who blur emotional lines, who aren't always traditionally masculine or emotionally closed off. His portrayal of toxic but strangely charismatic characters shows a willingness to challenge how Hollywood sees him. For fans, Chris Evans represents a type of male star who doesn't need to loudly state who he is or who he isn't. His lack of rigid labels, both in fashion and persona, leaves room for interpretation. And maybe that's the charm. In a world obsessed with definition, Evans remains one of those rare A-listers whose openness lies not in announcements, but in the way he carries himself, with kindness, playfulness, and just enough ambiguity to keep the internet guessing. Whether intentional or not, Chris Evans has earned his place as a soft-spoken icon for fans across the spectrum. Proof that you don't need to come out to be a comforting, inspiring presence for LGBTQ+ audiences. Jake Gyllenhaal has always existed in a fascinating space between mainstream heartthrob and indie film enigma. Over the years, he's become an emblem of soft masculinity, emotional complexity, and, yes, queer-coded ambiguity. From his early breakthrough roles to his more mature performances, Jake has often selected characters that explore blurred lines of love, intimacy, and identity. His most iconic contribution to LGBTQ+ cinema came in 2005 with Brokeback Mountain, where he played Jack Twist, a ranch hand engaged in a secret decades-long love affair with another man, played by Heath Ledger. The role didn't just challenge Hollywood norms at the time, it also reshaped how audiences viewed Gyllenhaal himself. His chemistry with Ledger was so raw, so devastatingly real, that many viewers started to question where the acting ended and where something more authentic might have begun. Jake's willingness to take on such a role, especially at a time when many leading men were terrified of being typecast, only added fuel to the speculation surrounding his own sexuality. Interviews from that era were filled with vague answers and playful dodging. When asked directly about the topic, Jake never provided definitive clarification. Instead, he let the mystery linger. In one infamous interview, when asked if he worried about being perceived as gay after Brokeback Mountain, he coolly replied, "It's flattering." Beyond that one role, Jake's career choices have continued to keep fans guessing. Films like Velvet Buzzsaw and Nightcrawler offered glimpses into strange, fluid characters who exist outside traditional masculine archetypes. Even off-screen, his close relationships with male friends, as well as his open affection for co-stars and interviewers, have contributed to the air of ambiguity. Jake's personal style has also evolved in ways that align with a new era of softer, more playful masculinity. On red carpets, he's embraced tailored yet non-traditional fits, pastel tones, and accessories that break the old Hollywood mold. His presence often blends brooding sensuality with boyish charm, making him a longtime favorite on queer Tumblr blogs, fan edits, and internet man-crush lists. What sets Jake apart, though, is how comfortable he seems with the speculation. Unlike many actors who rush to shut down rumors, Jake seems to enjoy the blurred lines. He's never gone out of his way to label himself or set the record straight. That level of self-assurance makes him a kind of queer icon by default, even if he's never publicly come out. In an era where many stars are either loudly proud or defensively silent, Jake Gyllenhaal represents something softer and more fluid, the beauty of ambiguity. Whether he's intentionally queer-baiting or just living authentically as himself without concern for labels, the fact remains, Jake occupies a unique and cherished spot in LGBTQ+ pop culture. For many fans, that gray area feels like home. Benedict Cumberbatch has always been a master of contradictions. With sharp cheekbones, a voice like liquid velvet, and that uniquely British charm, he's captivated audiences across the globe. From his breakout role as Sherlock Holmes to his current status as a Marvel superhero, Benedict walks the line between intellectual mystique and subtle sensuality like few others in Hollywood. What makes him particularly intriguing isn't just his acting range, it's the way he plays with perception. Benedict's characters are often emotionally unavailable, morally ambiguous, or socially detached, yet he infuses each role with an undercurrent of longing and vulnerability. Fans have spent years analyzing every glance, every smirk, every soft-spoken line, wondering if there's something more beneath the surface. In interviews, Benedict rarely offers clear answers when it comes to questions of identity or personal boundaries. He talks freely about emotional connection and artistic freedom, but when conversations drift toward labels or sexuality, he stays charmingly elusive. It's not avoidance, it's more like a knowing wink to the audience. He's aware of the fan theories, the Tumblr threads, the fan fiction, and he's never shown any desire to shut them down. One of the most famous examples? His role in the 2011 stage production of Frankenstein, where he and Johnny Lee Miller alternated between playing Frankenstein and the creature. The performances were raw, physical, and emotionally charged, sparking endless discussions about intimacy and blurred lines both on and off the stage. Then there's the way Benedict embraces fan culture. At press events and conventions, he leans into the memes, the jokes, the playful suggestions about his on-screen chemistry with other men. Whether it's Sherlock and Watson, Doctor Strange and Tony Stark, or even his offhand flirty banter with fellow actors, Benedict seems to enjoy the ambiguity. Off-screen, he's a private man, married with children, and careful to shield his personal life. But that hasn't stopped queer audiences from feeling seen in the way he portrays characters who exist in emotional gray zones. There's a softness to him, even in his most arrogant roles, a sense of longing, of something left unsaid. His fashion choices only add to the conversation. Benedict isn't afraid of bold prints, slim tailoring, or deep V necklines. Whether walking a red carpet or posing for GQ, he blends masculine confidence with delicate detailing. There's an ease to his style that feels both dapper and unbothered by traditional gender norms. In a world obsessed with labels, Benedict remains beautifully undefinable, and that's exactly why we can't look away. In a world that still loves labeling people, these 5 men continue to blur the lines, keeping fans guessing and captivated. Whether through fashion, interviews, or the roles they choose, they've embraced fluidity and ambiguity, making space for a new kind of masculinity in pop culture. Their refusal to fit neatly into boxes doesn't just spark speculation, it inspires countless others to embrace their own complexities. Because at the end of the day, it's not about having a label, it's about owning your story, your style, and your truth, whatever that may be. So, who's next to challenge the mold? Stay tuned.